Hello there, my name is Richard. The first time you see my channel, I used to review cartoon series, anime series, so something, computer random, and today we talk about Ghost and McGee, this new series from Disney, one of those that it sort of surprised you because the concept is so simple, but at the same time kind of complicated. I think one of the biggest example is basically McGee, one of the main leads, who has to be positive all the time. That easily could be annoying because too much positivity without any consequences that could be kind of boring or fall into sort of a Mary Sue, a very perfect little woman. But the only problem is they actually realized that I enjoy they actually figured out she cannot be positive all the time. You have to sort of challenge her or make her life a little bit miserable to basically complement her personality. That's why you have Scratch, the one who points out the things of McGee, like, yeah, you can't be positive all the time, but I love it how Scratch is just so negative and also so morbid, because this show, it is kind of disturbing sometimes. They're allowed to tell sort of dark jokes, like someone dying right in front of them, and that's it's pretty normal. Just ignore that. That sort of kind of slide in the hand make this series so funny and so relatable. It's just so wholesome, all three things at once, and I'm sort of surprised, especially Scratch himself, because how negative he is made it more interesting, because he's basically doing what he does best, his job, to be sort of an evil ghost that's trying to scare her off because he has a job to do. If he doesn't, he get in trouble with the council. But the question is, why the council need to have fear around people? Well, later on in the show, they do explain it's because you fear the chair member who runs the whole ghost society, because he eats fear. What fear? He eats ghost. And that is sort of interesting because Scratch does not realize it, always understand his job or reason why he have to basically scare people. But he finally realized why his job is so important. Now he has sort of a duality of Scratch, that he needs to realize, should I stay friends with McGee or I go against her to trying to save myself? And that is sort of an interesting concept itself, because Scratch cannot very scare off McGee because he has a curse around her that she easily could call him anytime she wants, or vice versa. Now he's sort of stuck, is sort of in the middle of the road. He doesn't know what to do, and he tried to sort of make this work. But I love it that this is why the show is just so interesting, that you see the different dynamic of both characters, not just them, also the family of McGee. Like each member are just so wholesome and positive and so charming each way, except for one family member, that's McGee's little brother, that he's supposed to be the bandit, the bad boy who steals stuff, do horrible things. The only problem is McGee's little brother is not as well executed. In fact, he's just sort of dragged because it's sort of they set up a joke for him, but he can never set up the punchline. I don't know why. I have never seen that for a long while. I mean, I see that for a critic. I've seen this once in a long while. I guess is that once more of that time to have that one bad character that really doesn't work. At least not for me. In fact, what do you think about McGee's little brother? You feel that character worked or he doesn't? Comment down below, let me know. But although that's the only character I feel that's sort of But although that, you have other side characters like Jeff, Scratch's best friend, but he just won't admit it because Jeff is sort of basically Patrick for SpongeBob, but I love it is also voiced as the same voice actor. He basically gave the same performance as Patrick, but more smarter, but more kind of laid back. Yeah, I enjoy that, especially how Scratch, he just won't admit he's his best friend. The very end, he does actually admit it once more. That's why I joined this series, because it sort of builds to the positivity. It just doesn't give you. It's sort of realizing the positivity is good. Not all the time you have to be negative or nihilistic. Even if this show is kind of nihilistic constantly. Yeah, I love it about that. That's sort of yin and yang, positive versus negative. Just works so well. Another thing I really enjoy and really surprised me is every time Scratch scares someone or another ghost scare another person, the art style sort of change. They sort of eliminate or complement the ghost where their actually theme really is, and that is sort of interesting, especially the art style they show, because the art style, how they draw the characters, are very interesting. I mean, they could say they're sort of factory made, but it's just how they was painted, shaded, or how they drawn give a lot of personality of the character. You kind of understand who they really are just by looking at them. And that itself is just wow. You really see the hard work of this team. It just delivers so well. Now, another character I want to talk about is Libby. That is like one of the first friend Maggie sort of befriended. That Libby doesn't really have confidence. To the very end, she becomes by the most confident person in the whole show, and that is sort of interesting. You see her development really fast, really well done, and really pays to finding Libby who she really is. You also have Andrea, that she doesn't have the most focus, but once more, you see her development slower, but at the same time interesting, because Andrea is sort of the YouTuber who is basically the famous one, the narcissistic one, but she has her reasons why that she needs to be loved, because her family or father and mother never loved her, at least not physically, and you see that she sort of struggles to actually care. But I love it that she sort of changed a little bit. It's the type of person she is realistic. If you scratch my back, I scratch yours type of character. And they really shows almost the very end, actually she does that in her own unusual way. And once more, I think that show works so well because of that understanding of being negative, being positive, have to complement each other. Too much of one thing could actually be ruined. Like, once more, our main lead, Maggie. I think one of the most interesting thing about Maggie is that she needs to be in control. She needs to force people to be happy, and it constantly bore her face off. One of the big examples, she wanna hang out both of her friends and see each other, but once more, that actually has an effect. Libby and Scratch were forced to be friends instead of being naturally friends. But because of this, Scratch had to break one of her rules to meet Libby, is to see him as he's a ghost form. And if he does, he risks being in trouble in the Ghost Council. Once more, this is the fault of Maggie not realizing Scratch's job is sort of dangerous. He had to follow some rules, and that's what sort of happened to the very end in the series, that the Ghost Council sort of realized what's actually going on and want to punish Scratch. But how Maggie really is a positive person who really trying to change and help people, goes back in the ghost world to save Scratch. And that could be a good bad thing, depends on you how you felt about the series, especially the ending, because they kind of got creative with two ideas. One, Maggie becoming a half ghost, and two, she becomes a Super Saiyan Maggie. Yeah, if you've seen the ending, you know what I mean. If they have aspired by Danny Fanny and Dragon Ball Z, given that sort of positivity twist that I wasn't expecting, but at the same time wasn't sure it's sort of well executed, because the ending was, I don't know, it was satisfying or with a question mark. Maybe I need more time to think about it, but I did enjoy it. But I wish they kind of explored the final episode a little bit more. They needed to be maybe 20 minutes than 10-minute episode, or it could be a 30-minute trilogy episode, because you have so many things you can do with it. I feel they just couldn't do that much of the limitation. But all that, I think the show was good, fun, positive, and also realistic positive, because too much could be a pain in the ass or even harmful to a character to be unlikable, but they don't. They 90% handle everything so well. Now, I have that question, how you felt about everything, the art style, the show. You think the show pulled out the ending or they didn't? Tell me down below, let me know. Honestly, I got nothing else to say, just thank you for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and have a wonderful day. Bye.